Each year, I see matariki rising and the kōwhai flowering. I think about my father, e pā, or the Māori word of respect and endearment. When matariki, or the constellation known as the Pleiades, sparkles from the heavens, matariki tells us what to expect for the season ahead. When the kōwhai flowers, or the golden flower of the Sephora genus, we know what time and when to plant. Combined, these ancient guides and signs announce that Ranginui, our Sky Father, and Papatuanuku, our Earth Mother, are ready to once again welcome new life to the world and nourishment for our families. E pā would recite karakia or invoke incantations and prayers to our gods at the beginning of each planting season, and before we started to welcome in the promise of a good harvest, he would give the first seed of every season to my sister Melanie because she had warm hands. And then what we'd do is we would plough the land and we'd plant our crops and our orchards, and we would then, when the time was right, harvest. We would come together and work hard and celebrate. And it was a whānau or a family affair because everyone who worked on our farms and on our properties were family, were our grandparents, our uncles, aunts, our cousins, brothers and sisters, mums and dads. And we would gather and harvest our kai, and we would rest the land for the season ahead. And we would also then prepare the kai, and we would share it with the family, our families on the farm, and with the families in the valley, because that's what we would do. This tradition, this ancient knowledge system of preparing food, harvesting food, and then exchanging it was handed to e pā by his parents and grandparents and their parents and grandparents as well. And it was a system and a belief that we extended to our own farming and agribusiness operations. Whānau, whenua and whakapapa, our families, our land, and our genealogy or our connections were central to our agribusiness platform. Caring for our land and our people have been central to the intergenerational success of Māori agribusiness and Māori economies, mai rānō, from forever. And it is important to recognise that that system that I grew up with on the farm in Te Rohe Pōtai, the King Country, is in fact central to New Zealand's economy today. We are gathered here from around the world, ngā hau e whā, to talk about transforming the global food and fibre system. And for people like me and others in this auditorium, that is both a sacred and practical pursuit. But let's, in the first instance, dispel some of these myths or, in my opinions, limiting beliefs that stop us from actually doing what we've been saying for the last 20 years. So change isn't coming, it's here. And people and the environment aren't some new strategy out of some university across the world. They've always been important. People and the environment have always been important. Technology has always been an important and very cool part of agribusiness and the primary industry. Climate change has been very real and disruptive part of our lives forever. Commerce and culture, when aligned, is a powerful form of economic change across generations. And last and not least, and you're going to expect it from me because I'm Indigenous people and Indigenous knowledge, systems and values have been part of agribusiness for almost as long as this magnificent planet has been circling the sun. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. In 2019, the then Associate Minister for Trade and Export Growth, the Honourable Nanaia Mahuta, launched Aotearoa ki te ao, which is basically Aotearoa to the world. It was the first time, I think, that a government had committed to and agreed that Indigenous trade was important for Aotearoa. This strategy, and you can Google it for those of you who are interested, talked about promoting Māori trade and export. Cool. It also talked about how we might preserve and protect mātauranga Māori or Māori knowledge systems and values. It talked about promoting and preserving Indigenous connections and trade. Sounds simple. And for people like me, it's a no-brainer. The Dr. Ganesh Nana, who is now the chair of Te Komihana Whaihua o Aotearoa, or the New Zealand Productivity Commission, once said that New Zealand either exports or dies. Pretty dramatic, makes an effect. It stopped me in my tracks. And he's right. He also said economics, at its most fundamental point, is about what we do for our people. And because I'm Māori, I'm going to add in the environment and how we make decisions that affect our people. Last week was Field Days here in New Zealand, for those of you who are visiting us from offshore, and Manatu Ahumatua, the Ministry for Primary Industries, announced a record projection of something like 56 billion, of which around about 23 billion of that came from Māori agribusiness or Māori-owned land and enterprises, and that's pretty neat. The Māori economy is pitched at circa $70 billion New Zealand right now, with the expectation that it will grow, or we will grow, to 100 billion by 2030. I think we're going to hit that before then. For those of you who need to be reminded, Māori agribusiness and primary industry investment assets and interests represent circa 50% of forestry and fisheries, 30% of red meat and dairy, alongside of a 10%, give or take a little. Remember, I'm a bush accountant from the King Country. It's around about 10% of hort, viticulture and energy. We are significant players in Aotearoa's primary industry and agribusiness sector. We operate diverse operating platforms which cover all of the sectors. And this positions us really nicely when we need to move and morph according to what's happening at a geo-economic level, and also for those of us who have been affected by weather events, and we certainly have been, how we might move for those. Māori are land owners, land users, and land managers. And I use that term distinctly because that means that for those of us who are ready to do what we're here to say we're doing, transform the global food and fibre systems, those of us who are ready, willing, and able are open to that kind of deconstructive, reconstructive thinking. And it also means, too, we have a predilection as Māori agribusiness owners to think about employing our own. We will never sell our tūpuna or our inherited land. We will always look at what is best for our land. Sometimes that doesn't always make the best commercial sense. So let's talk a little bit about partnership. Te Tiriti o Waitangi, or the Treaty of Waitangi, is a founding document for Aotearoa, New Zealand. It was signed by some Māori, not all, some Māori, and the Crown or government, and in many ways, for many people, it has been a founding document defining who we are as New Zealanders and how we operate as New Zealanders. Today, that partnership arrangement, or the Te Tiriti, the treaty, has been lauded and promoted across the world as a partnership model for Indigenous peoples, governments and economies. Is it perfect? No. Is here in Aotearoa, do we think that that arrangement is perfect? No. but we also think that it is an opportunity to partner with the Crown and Government to make decisions about the future direction of our nation. Just give a couple of examples of partnerships, working examples right now. A topical partnership in the news here in Aotearoa, New Zealand right now is He Waka Eke Noa, where Māori, government and industry are coming together to discuss how we might work together to lower our emissions and to usher in a lower carbon economy. Has that been perfect? No. Has the partnership made a commitment to working together, to better understanding one another, to understanding what our priorities are? Yeah, we have. Is it a work in progress? Absolutely. As a member of He Waka Eke Noa, as the chair of the FOMA, the Federation of Māori Authorities, I recognise that staying at the table with government and industry, although not always easy, is the best chance that we might have as an industry and as a country and as a nation in the world to achieve what we're talking about here, transforming our global food and fibre systems. I also wanted to talk to you about another innovative approach to partnership, which is led out by Manatu Ahumatua, or the Ministry for Primary Industries here in New Zealand. Ray Smith, the Chief Executive or Director General of MPI, has established a Māori group of agri-leaders called Ngā Pouwhero Taimatua. I co-chair that with Ray, and we there are looking at a systems change approach that enables and supports Māori agribusiness to grow as an important part of Aotearoa's trade and export framework. Again, has it been tough? Yeah. Have we taken time to better understand one another? Yes. Are we getting there? Yeah, I think we are. For my part, as the chair of FOMA, as the chair of Ngā Pouwhero Taimatua, what I recognise is that the change will happen because people like us step into that change. Because people like us who make decisions every day that change the face of nations, businesses or communities might make better decisions, might start to think about decisions that really put people and place at the centre of our decisions, that we might create strategies together, Māori, government and industry, or Indigenous and Indigenous, to ensure that we might achieve that. Is it easy? No. But for those of us who are courageous and curious and imaginative and who want better for our mokapuna's mokapuna, for our grandchildren's grandchildren, we're up for that change. Finally, I want to talk about the importance of how individual leaders can make change from very small steps. FOMA, the Federation of Māori Authorities, was established in the 80s, around 40 years ago, because Māori leaders at the time and political leaders or government leaders at the time saw that Māori and government needed to come together to work together for change. And over that time, we have been able to work with government and more recently industry to achieve those changes. We've been able to influence policy, legislation, regulations, all with the idea of improving the quality of life for our people. FOMA was established to foster and promote the advancement and sound management of Māori authorities, with the idea that we would contribute to a burgeoning and growing Māori economy, which we've been able to achieve today. Lastly, for those of you who are leaving today and going home to your organisations and entities, let this be a day when you decide to make change, when you decide to actively and properly step into the change and the challenge and the call to arms that the FOMA a Farmer session has encouraged you to do, that we indeed might be part of transforming the global food and fibre systems for Aotearoa in my case, for Indigenous people as well across the world from my place, and also for all people nationally and internationally. Kia ora no tātou.